Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. This is Charlie Newton, your art teacher, once again with another Splash Live art uh, class. Okay, so good to see you today. I hope the kids are watching. I hope the adults are watching. Splash offer free art classes to low-income urban youth, and now we have expanded to not only urban youth, but to um, kids from 4 to 94. And so uh, I welcome all of the adults who have started taking this class. And I'm thankful for the kids who are preschoolers who take this class. And so we enjoy doing free art classes. So today we're going to draw and paint a horse. And I've been wanting to draw and paint this horse for a couple of months now, and I thought today might be a good time to do it. So let's get started. So we're going to paint in watercolors. So you're going to need your watercolors. I'm going to get my pad out. I think I'll paint directly on the pad today. Well, no, I won't. No, I won't. We're going to draw using a H pencil. It could be I'm going to use a 2H, but you could use a HB, or as long as your pencil has an H on it, you can use that. It's good to have the picture that you're going to draw close to you, because you want to, whenever you're drawing something, either from life or from a picture, you want to have total control over the model. So you want total control. And one way to do it is to have the picture as close to your paper or canvas as possible. Have it very close. I'm going to use paper to mix my colors on today. I'm one of those artists that I'm not very neat. As you can see, I've used my tray, and I like having paint already in the tray. A lot of times I'll just start painting from my palette instead of going and mixing a whole new palette in watercolors. If this was my own work, I would start from dried up paint, and once I wet it, this paint here is usable. So we're going to draw it realistically, but we're going to have some wiggle room for it to also be abstract. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start not at the top of the paper, because we need room for the ears. And the ears are sort of like two triangles. Matter of fact, let's just draw some ears at the top. I don't know if this is the correct distance apart or not, but I just want to make sure I have room enough for ears. And then the horse's head is going to be made up. First, I think let's do a circle. This is the top part of the horse's head. He has a long nose, he or she. And then, have you done that circle? The circle can be an oval. We just want a basic shape here. I could have done a large triangle, but that's not how I want to do this horse. So the circle or oval, it could be an oval shape or circle, but round. It's going to come out from the ears. Now this shape we're not going to keep. I'm going to change this shape. But this is just a basic shape. Then we're going to do like a triangle, a large triangle for the bridge of the nose. And at the end of the triangle, we're going to put another circle, smaller circle. But the circle is wider than the triangle. Not at, don't let the triangle come to a point. The point of the triangle would be here. And the circle, well, the point, if I complete this triangle, the point would be here. But the circle is up a little bit higher. Now we can always change. Nothing is ever written in stone when you're drawing and painting. Okay, we just want to get an idea of where everything is. Then we can see the neck behind the horse. It's slanted triangular shape. And then another triangular shape is wider at the bottom than at the top. And then there's a line that slants like that, another triangle that goes like that. Can you see that? So I'm just finding the main shapes. On the nose, there's like two circles here, two large circles for the nostrils of the horse. So you have two circles on top of a larger circle. Two smaller circles on top of a larger circle here. And that's basically where everything is located. Now, when actually drawing and painting, when you get used to seeing the shapes, you don't have to draw this, what I just did. You could sort of, we call it eye it in. You can sort of use your eyes to see where everything belongs. But it's probably a good idea to do this for the next 10 years, to do it this way. I would say, if you're a beginner, do it this way for about 10 years, okay, at least. So the way I draw, and I'm going to start, I've been thinking about sharing my special techniques in the future, and I think I will, because how often do you get an opportunity for an exhibiting artist to show you how they do things? But these are basic standard drawing techniques that I'm teaching you that anyone can do. Anyone can do when you do it this way. Okay. And it's hard for me to do it this way because I've been doing it my way for I don't know how long, for the last 50 years or so. But I want to start with the horse's head, the cranium, the top part of the horse's head, because it's much smaller than his brow. Matter of fact, I'm going to draw a straight line across here so that I'll sort of know where the horse's eyes belong. The eyes are going to be kind of low on this circle here. Maybe this low. I don't know until I get there. So when I'm drawing, two things. I'm going to look into this camera. I probably need some light in that camera, more light. But when you're drawing, I want you to watch my head movement. So either if you're drawing a person or a tree in life, or drawing from a photograph, this is how your head should move. You should look at the photograph or look at the object. Then look at your paper, make a couple of marks, then look back at the photographs. You spend most of your attention on the subject matter, not on your drawing. Most of your eyes need to spend more time on the model than it does on your picture. And you learn this practice by drawing. We did some contour drawings when we was drawing superheroes. And we haven't done enough contour drawings on here. I'm trying to figure out how can we do a Facebook Live and really show you the meat. I know my brother worked in television for years. He was one of the first cameramen at many of these stations here. His name was John Newton Jr. And he taught me that people's attention span is very short these days, especially on TV and in video. And so it's hard. I have to truncate the teaching a lot just to hold interest. And still you can't hardly hold interest. But actually in a splash class, we might do contour drawing for, a week, 2 or 3 classes. I can't do it longer because kids' attention span isn't that long either. But for the serious artists, you need to do hours and hours and hours of contour drawing and gesture drawing. Maybe next time we'll show you what contour drawing is. I've already shown you gesture. Maybe we'll do a whole show on contour and gesture drawing. Very easy to do. It's a mental thing you have to get past, though, to do that. And what contour and gesture drawing does is it teaches you, to look at the subject more than the paper, and you put that into your reflex action. You gain reflexes that you will automatically look at what you're drawing more. And that's because all the information is where you're drawing. So now I'm drawing. So I'm starting at the top of the horse's head. And I'm thinking, these are the things that interest me. What is that shape there? So I'm sketching. And the horse's head comes out like that, and the hair. Now my eye, when I'm drawing on my paper, my eye is moving with my pencil. And that's a result of contour drawing. If my pencil, in my mind, my pencil is touching this picture or touching the face of a person, or if this horse was real, in my mind, I'm touching the model. And I'm trying to find it. I'm seeking it. I'm searching. Where is it? So I'm drawing the horse's mane, and the horse's mane covers this side of the horse's head, and there's a little triangle here, triangular shape where the eye protrudes. I need to see if I can find a horse's head. In art school, we had a horse's head, and skeleton of the horse's head that we could practice with. So then here's the eyeball. So the eye juts out. I don't know much about horses, so I'm getting all my information from this picture. And I'm changing things based on my pencil. See, I made a decision to bring the head up higher as I'm touching. I'm literally touching the horse's, the picture with my mind. I don't need this line here because I'm going to put a highlight there, so I'll erase it. So I decided to, see, when you sketch, you can make changes. When we sketch in those shapes, it's just so, I still didn't get the top of the horse's ear because I want the ear to be larger now. So, see, I'm making decisions as I'm drawing. And this is what makes the drawing interesting, by the way. What happens is when you look at the artwork, you may not know it, but you're looking at the process that the artist took. And the lines display that. I could actually do this drawing and not paint it, and it would be interesting. The ear is fuzzy because the lines, the sketch makes the drawing interesting. We're not trying to make a photograph. We're trying to make a drawing. A photograph is one thing, a drawing is another thing. Now that's something called superrealism. And what's the other type of realism that looks, that's photographic? Hyper. Yes, and hyperrealism, which a lot of my art ends up being hyper-realistic, which is different than photographic realism. I know I'm working on some large painting now that's I would call hyper realistic, mixed a little bit with abstract expressionism. So I'm just trying to draw what I see. And Auntie, you have to keep me up with the time since
Sure. It's, oh, that's right.
you're right.
That is right up there. The clock.
I know, but I don't know when we started.
Oh. Let's see.
When we get down to 30 minutes, let me know.
Yeah.
So with this horse, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I didn't make my head quite wide enough. Let's see if I can change it a little bit. I'm measuring everything now. We call this measuring when you line up. I'm measuring, I mean I'm lining up these shapes, like the eyes. And I can see that the horse's eyelid has wrinkles in it as it folds over the eye. Now, a person who, rides ponies or they live on a horse farm, they know all this stuff. And they would be able to draw this horse much better than I, and much quicker if they're artists. Or a person who draw horses all the time, but it's rare that I would draw a horse. Then a horse's jaw. I'm going to have to lower everything. I don't have to, but I'm going to lower a lot of this stuff. But I want the nose to be lower than it is now. So when I'm doing, what helps me to make my decisions, and every artist, now you can get 10 artists here to draw this horse, and that each picture would be different. It would be slightly different because we all see things differently. Oh, that our government could learn that today. I think we used to know that, or the Constitution says that we know that, but we're trying to learn that people are different. People see things differently, and we need to accept that. And in art, I think artists are able to accept, for the most part, differences a little bit better than the average person because they understand that people see things differently, and it's okay. Everybody's an individual, and it makes life more interesting. If everybody's the same, life would be so boring. Anyway, I'm not going to spend too much time. Now, if I was making this into a, this is the horse's mane on the right-hand side. I'm seeing this detail, and I'm wanting to put it in. So the bridge of the nose has a long nose, a long bridge, and I had to increase the length of the nose, so the nostrils are lower, see, much lower. But the horse's nostrils are large. There's a V shape right here. Can you see that, this V shape? It's like headlights. And the nostrils flare out. I decided not to put too much detail so that we can have fun with the paint. Now, many times, and the mouth comes down, and on my picture, it's going to run off the paper. On your picture, it may not. So I draw large anyway. I paint large, I draw large. So it's hard for me to keep things inside the paper. And that's okay. That's just part of the way I do things. And I tell kids all the time, don't try to make it fit in. Let it run off the page. It looks more realistic. Kind of like if you were looking through a window or something. But the part that's on the page, you have to make it very interesting. I did shorten this horse's mouth a little bit because I think I wanted, you need to see at least the top lip for it to be interesting. And then there's a lot of shading here. Okay, so what I want you to do now, let's do this. Let's do it this way. We could do this in one color or not. I want to do it in, well, maybe we should do it in 2 colors or something. Let's try 2 or 3 colors. Let's try a light color first. I want the background to be brighter, lighter. I'm going to erase this line going straight across a little bit without erasing lines that I need. When you erase, we erase to enhance the drawing, not because of it's a mistake. But a lot of these lines, these sketch lines, I don't need anymore. And I don't want them to show up, some of them, to show up in the painting. Some of them is okay if it shows up. So let's do a monochromatic. We can use 2 colors maybe. And first, let's start with a wash. Splash students know what a wash is. Get your wide brush, your flat, wide brush, and choose a color for the background. We're going to do the background first. I think I want my background to be light blue. I thought about yellow. I always start with yellow, so I'm not going to do that today. So I'm going to start with a blue. I'm going to use my paper to see what this blue looked like. Do I like that blue? I really don't like that blue. So I'm going to get a different blue. See if I like that one better. I have some purple in my brush, which I don't mind. I don't clean my materials a lot. Okay. I'm not a neat freak. Some artists are. My hat goes off to them. But I think a painting don't need to be too neat. Neatness sometimes means coldness and soulless. And I want my art to have soul. So I'm going to put a wash on here. I want it to be thin enough for you to see the paper behind. And believe it or not, the reason why I'm putting this wash on here, because I wanted to do this stroke here. The stroke I'm doing now, I wanted to pull my brush and do that. Some of the brush strokes that's coming through, I'm going to leave so it's not boring, like this little bit here. So when you're working, making your art, don't just draw without thinking. This side is going to be a little darker, but hopefully that will bring out the horse's shape a little more, make it look a little bit more 3D maybe. I want this to look like watercolor, so I'm going to keep everything loose. Keep everything loose. I want it to, see it's bleeding here, that's okay. Because I want it to look like watercolor. So I want this picture to look wet. Okay. So the variations here, I'm going to keep it loose. I think I'm going to keep using my wide brush for a while. I'm going to see how much of this horse can I paint with this brush here. And this brush is actually coming apart. So I'm going to put some tape on it and hopefully that'll hold it together. So the fret here is coming loose from the wood. I'm just going to tape it. I'm not going to be putting that much pressure. So this little bleeding right here, I'm going to smooth that out some. It pooled a little bit. I'm going to. I don't mind it looking like there were mistakes, but I also want to look like everything is under control. So when I said it's going to be monochromatic, I'm going to paint everything in blue, then I'm going to go back with another color. Everywhere I think blue, I need blue. I'm going to leave the paper for highlights. I'm going to try to paint with this brush. I'm using the tip of the brush now. So all of the dark areas, I'm painting with this dark blue. I'm using the tip of this area here. And the paint is my brush is very wet, and I'm going to leave it like that for now. So I'm sort of going with the flow. I'm going with what life is giving me right now. Sometimes you have to just go with what life is giving you and listen. Don't be hard on yourself, and please don't complain, because sometimes the uncomfortable moments are moments of opportunity. Sometimes life is trying to teach you something that you didn't know. And there's room to grow in those moments when things seem difficult or out of control. And the reason why I don't care that much if things get a little bit out of control, because I'm the one in control, in a sense, of this art. I'm the one who decides when it's finished. So when you make an art, you're usually by yourself. And so now I think while doing this, I think I had an idea to use some purple in this picture too. But everywhere, I think I could use blue. Now you could use any color. You could paint this with red. I want you to think, remember I said before, abstract. We have the image of the horse. So as long as people know it's a horse, it's okay. But now you can get creative. So I'm painting the darks in, the shadows. Everywhere where there's not a lot of light or it's darker, I'm painting. And I don't suggest you use the wide brush. I want to use the wide brush so that my painting can stay loose. If I go and once I get a smaller brush, even if I don't want to, it's going to look more controlled, more detailed. Because we always start large and then go small. The smaller brush is for the details. My brush is splitting a little bit, coming apart, and that's okay. If this was a painting, it would really, I mean, this is a painting, but we consider, technically, artists consider watercolor as drawing. So I always want to do a little teaching, so that you understand the art world. So I'm thinking like I'm drawing, not like I'm painting, even though this is a watercolor painting. I know that don't make a lot of sense to you, but. Oh yeah, okay. I think I brought a fan brush in here the other day. Yeah, I did, because I wanted to show some kids. A few weeks ago, I mentioned a fan brush, and this might be a good time to show you what it does. See, this is the fan brush. The space between the hairs. So it'll make a mark. Watch this mark. Well, it's too dry. See how to make all those marks like that? So if I just kind of dab it like this, kind of looks like fur. It can also make very smooth marks, but not this one. It is very difficult these days to buy a decent fan brush. The quality in materials. I mean, the brushes that we buy today are less quality than the ones I had, say, 20 years ago. And see how this is splitting like that? This brush isn't supposed to do that. But I'm going to use it. Since I know it splits like this, I know how to use that to my advantage. You see how something that somebody might say, wow, the brush is not right, and start complaining about it? See how you can use it? You can use adversity. Look how I said, I'll use it on the main. So each one of these little splits will make a mark. And so it'll make this drawing go faster. I was going to do this anyway, but not with this fan brush. I was just going to make those marks. So I can use this I could do it in the background too, if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. But I can use the fact this brush is not acting right to my advantage. And that's what artists do. We're very creative. Okay, so that's done with the fan brush. Now I'm going to get a round brush. And first I'm going to go in with more washes, grays, and blue. And I think I want to use purple too. And I don't know if purple is going to work, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. That means if you don't try, how you going to know? Nothing beats a failure but a try. Now I'm using my drawing. I have to tell kids all the time, don't lose your drawing. Your drawing is your map. Your sketch is your map. When you sketch, your sketch is giving you all the information about what you're drawing. Because that's when you're figuring out what you see or how you see it. And everybody sees things differently. So your sketch is your individuality. So I don't want to lose my drawing. My drawing is showing me what to do next or where to go, showing me my boundaries, if you will. So don't lose your sketch. My sketch is helping me. Now I want some heavier blue. Now this brush is too raggedy now, so I can't use this one for what I want to do now. I can use it for that mark. Let the mane come down a little bit more like that. This is fun. Have we been drawing 30 minutes yet?
Let's see. Yes.
I can almost tell how long we've been drawing because I've done this a few times. So I'm drawing the eye, and I'm going to leave white. This brush is a little bit too raggedy too. My brushes are well used, so now let me find one that's almost new. I'm looking for a round brush. I need to remember to bring some more brushes in here. Oh, by the way, I was telling somebody, oh, when on Giving Tuesday, I think I said this in our broadcast, that we believe in kids having the right equipment, because a lot of times kids uh, lose interest because they think that they can't do something, and there's nothing that you cannot do. Nothing. You can do whatever you put your mind to. It may take a little work. It may take a little faith in yourself. It may take a little belief. You have to have a belief system that's positive and not negative. And when you use that, you find out that in time, you can learn just like anybody else. Everybody, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, they had to learn just like you. And who's to say that they are any more talented than you are? They're not. They may be a little bit more dedicated than you, but that's all. You can do whatever you set your mind to do. And my father taught me, no matter what it is you're doing, give it your all. It may not be what you like doing, because we had to work at home. You know, we had to make our beds and wash dishes. I washed dishes this morning. I don't like washing dishes. My wife can tell you that. But we had to work, sweep the floors, mop floors. He taught us how to mop floors. One day I'll tell you a little story that nobody knew about. But we were taught to work at a very young age. I mean, real work. Even by the 4th grade, I was doing men's work. And I'll tell you that story maybe next time. The point is, you can do, once you're not lazy and you learn how to work, and you're willing to work and not give up and not quit every time something gets hard, you'll find out, hey, maybe you're a little bit more talented than you knew. But give your all to everything. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to use this blue. You see these marks in the hair? I'm going to use this small brush. I'm going to take advantage of that point on this brush and put some streaks in the hair, put some
For about 21 minutes.
okay. I'm going to put some streaks that, how should I put it? That I think might make this thing pop. So what I'm painting now are the dark areas, okay? It's monochromatic. That means I'm only using one color. Your whole painting can be one color. You don't have to use more than one color on this horse. I think I'm going to just to see what it looks like. But when I finish with the blue, if it look okay, then I may not add another color. But I would like for you to not add more than 3 colors, because I want you to learn how to use all the shadows. See, these shadows is what's going to make this horse. This brush is kind of rough, but I can use that in the fur. And now it's sort of dry, and I'm going back darker. I work from light to dark, not from dark to light with watercolors. You can paint any way you want to, but You want to start off doing the techniques that are going to be easier for you to control. So if you work from light to dark, it's going to be a little bit easier. They say watercolor is unforgiving, which means that once you mess up, once you make a mistake, it's hard to fix it. But if you work from light to dark, then you're giving yourself more time, more opportunity to fix things. I'm going to paint in the other eye. There's an eyelid, a huge eyelid. I'm going to paint the eyeball here and the shape of the eye here. Leave the highlights on the eye, just like a human being. The eyes are affected by the light that surrounds it. I really want to get these eyelashes, huge eyelashes. I'm going to do it to this side too. Now the grays. See, when you work in monochromatic using one color, it forces you to learn and to train controlling how thin the paint is, how thin or thick the paint is, if you can see through the paint or not. Under the eye, you can see the bottom part of the eye, and it lifts that eye, the rim of that eye up. So you see how big the horse's eyes are. I'm going to use a heavy line here to show you the shape of the face there, and use some dry brush here. When I say dry brush, that means the paint brush is not very wet. It's very dry. See, and it comes off like that, not wet, but textured like. Okay, I think that's enough of that. Now purple I think I am going to use purple. I think I do want another color. Yellow, I just like yellow, so if I put yellow in there, I'd probably like that too. But now I'm just going to put purple. And I'm going to be liberal with my purple. And I want my brush to be wet. So I'm going to paint right over the blue. And in some areas, I'm going to allow the purple to move, to show through, like this area in the ear, this white area. I can allow that to be a very thin purple. Okay. I'm not even using that tray. I'm using this tray, which has more colors. See, all this comes with practice. And
About 10 minutes.
okay, and while painting, look at what's happening. So the paint itself tells you what to do. So I'm using dry brush and wet brush at the same time because that's how I do it. So I sort of like this purple, but I don't want to go overboard, so I'm going to let the purple be more highlight, a highlight color. It's hard to paint and talk. I'm sorry. I'm really concentrating hard here. So I'm kind of sort of pulling back from the picture, a little bit away from the picture, and now I'm allowing my painting to tell me what to do next. I'm not relying on the picture so much now, because in the end, this is a painting, and this has to be unique. It has to. I'm going to put my name on it. So you kids know, I think kids are very creative, and they do that automatically. I had to pull them back a little bit and make sure they learn how to control everything. See how dark I'm making that? See, the painting is telling me to do this way. I have to listen to the art. If you listen to the art, the painting will actually paint itself. Now I just want it to look like a nice painting. I'm not trying to make it look like the photograph now. So I'm slowing down because I'm really trying to make some decisions of what will work and what won't work. Sometimes, a lot of times I don't know what to do. So the truth is out. I don't know what I'm doing. So the painting has to help me. The painting has to say, do this. I'm almost done. I'm finishing the painting, really. You kids know I like to use the word coup de grace. And darks and light will do that. If you guys follow me and follow these, especially the teenagers and the older artists, it would be nice to do some Caravaggio light pieces. Chiaroscuro, all that stuff that looks super real to people. But you need these techniques I'm using now as a prerequisite. So that's why I tell kids all the time, you cannot miss class because everything is leading up to something in the future. So I'm still thinking the horse's mane here. I'm going to go back with some blue. I might need a little blue. I'm just about finished. Going back with some light purple on this white here. I'm doing little details now. That mark I made it was too dark, so I just put water in the brush. I'm going to spread it. So the way it's looking now, it's okay. And it's pretty decent. I want some more dark areas up in here. And I'm going back with blue. I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not, but I have to try it. I want to go back with a dark, heavy blue in this area to see if it works. And it does. Sometimes you just get a feeling about what it needs, and that comes from doing art for years and years and years. Okay. Now I'm trying to think about, okay, I I know where it is in space. I'm going to get some thin purple here. I want to push this side back a little bit. And that's what that does. It pushes it back in space. Push that back a little bit. Push this eyebrow back. I could have used blue. It would have done the same thing. It would have done it better, actually, if I had used blue. But I'd rather use purple because of the design. I sort of want to put some purple in the background here. I will. Why not? I'm going to put it over here and spread it and hopefully make it look interesting. So the water is pooling right here. I'm going to let it just pool and do what it wants to over here on this side. Because in the end, it's a painting, right? I think I may leave it. I'll do a little mark here. Now I'm just, like I say, I'm finishing. See, little marks, that mark was the right mark, but I didn't control it enough, so I'm going to change it a little bit. There you go. Just little things you can do. I just want this to be a decent painting, a decent watercolor drawing. I have finished it. And what do we do next? We put our name on it. If you are a child, put your age on it. I want to see it. My Splash students, I want to see it. I may be calling you because we're getting ready to have a auction. And we're going to be auctioning Splash students' artworks. And what are you going to do with the money? Well, we're going to continue to offer free art classes, free art supplies, free art classes for kids year round. And we're going to give the kids half of the money. We buy all the art supplies, the paints, the paper. We frame the art ourselves. We buy the frames, we frame it. We put a lot of money into the child's art. So Splash is free, but it's not cheap. And that's why we need all the help we can get to keep the kids engaged. We need we really need the community to help us do that. Just an average person, and that's why we're doing the auction. And there will be more information probably by this weekend as far as the time and the date. It's going to be online. And the good people at Chambliss is helping us do that. Chambliss law firm. And we're thankful to have partners that will help us help the children. I hope you will too. Well, that's it. That's our horse. And I'm pleased with it. I hope you're pleased with yours. Remember, you can replay this and slow it down and go slower than I did. But I'm glad that you could join us today. We'll be back on Saturday from 11 to 12. And stay safe. Wear your masks. Can't find my mask, but I had one over here. It's in my jacket. Oh, here's one. Remember to wear your mask. The coronavirus is spiking, even in Chattanooga. I found out last week something like 600 some people have died in Chattanooga of the coronavirus, so it's no joke. Protect grandma, grandpa, uncle, aunt, mama, daddy by wearing your mask. When you wear your mask, the mask is protecting others. So if you love your seniors, especially, but anybody can get the virus, even babies. So wear your mask and protect your loved ones and your friends and your strangers. And thank you so much for joining us. And remember, until next time, art is for everyone. Bye-bye.